Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supremacy here to God. Listen, man, today I want to talk about Blackbeard, and I have a theory for you here, right? I have an observation. I have a what you call a matism for you guys, right? So I actually want to talk about why why Blackbeard killed Whitebeard in the first place, right? So we've discovered a lot about Blackbeard's background, about rocks and the rocks pirates and everything. And I think what we have to consider here is, right, we're thinking about the betrayal at God Valley, right? Somebody betrayed Rocks or something happens, right? Rocks somehow loses against either the Roger Pirates and the government who for some reason teamed up. Now, first of all, I don't care how much of a villain you think Blackbeard is. Hey, I ain't gonna hold you. The biggest villain between Blackbeard and goddamn Garp gotta be Garp, man. Garp is no hero, man. Garp is no hero, man. There's no way in hell we can call Garp a hero after these chapters, man. We saw his son, you know what I'm saying? The revolutionary leader, the looking east, looking at we saw Dragon out here out openly rebel against the goddamn government at God Valley, being like, this is crazy. Like, how are we doing this? But we know for a fact that Gap pulls up there with Son Goku and they help these celestial dragons, and they stop Rocks. And not only that, so does Roger. Why do they do that? This is Rox's home birthplace, his hometown. You know what I'm saying? This is where he's born. This is where he was raised. This is his home. This is where he put his wife, his kid. And the government is about to destroy this place. And somehow we're supposed to say that he's the villain? That to me just makes no goddamn sense. That to me makes no goddamn sense. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at how we've looked at Blackbeard throughout the series, it's also kind of similar where it seems like he's the bad guy. Before we got these flashbacks, we assumed Rox was clearly the bad guy. But we're looking at everything here. What has he actually done? What has he actually done that was bad, bro? Like, he ain't do no negative deed. He did no negative deed, right? And yet, for some godforsaken reason, history tried to completely delete this man from existence. So, if you ask me, I don't think Blackbeard might be a villain either, man. I think Blackbeard it might be going through the same fiasco. We get the perspective of Luffy. So obviously, to us, from our perspective, he's Luffy's antagonist. But that does not necessarily mean Blackbeard is a villain. You know what I'm saying? We know he freed a bunch of people from Impel Down, but Luffy freed Zoro from the world government too. And we know the world government ain't shit. We know the world government might be worse than the worst pirates that we know. Actually, matter of fact, we know for a fact it's worse than the worst pirates that we know. Right? If we can say Garp, who let this shit slide for basically his whole career, you know what I'm saying? And maybe that's why he felt the need to protect Ace, because Roger was like, yo, remember we did in God Valley now? You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be a hero now, but look what you did now. You know what I'm saying? And they called him the hero of the Marines for his exploits there. You know? So we got to pay attention here. We got to pay attention to exactly what's happening in the story. And from my perspective, Rox is a better dude than even Roger. You know what I'm saying? But we've been shown the picture of Roger as this standout good guy, pirate that everybody adored, and he found Laugh Tale, and he found the One Piece, and he's the catalyst for the story. Yeah, he's all of these things, but he's definitely no good guy, brother. He's definitely, in comparison to Rox, to me, he's way worse. He's way worse. You know, Rox did nothing wrong. These dudes, the government pulled up, and they did their best to try and get rid of a whole town, a whole place, a whole island. And Rox is the one that went to defend it. But the people that stopped them are Roger and Garp and Son Goku and them. So who's the hero? Who is the hero in One Piece for you guys? Who's the villain? Right? And I'm thinking, like I said, if we start reevaluating what Blackbeard did, right? He helped kill Whitebeard and stole his fruit. Why did he do that, right? Maybe he discovered some information about Whitebeard during that period, because we know how powerful Whitebeard is. Maybe Whitebeard refused to fight for some reason, one reason or another, and let God Valley die. We know that the rest of the Rock Pirates survived. We know Kaido ain't shit. We know Big Mom's ain't shit. You know? And Big Mom actually was depressed after this, actually. So actually we can say Big Mom is shit because she was depressed after this and became, the Lin Lin that we now know, the Big Mom that we now know, and kind of left the Lin Lin, moniker, because she lost her final family member, which was Rocks. And Kaido and Whitebeard went their own way and left her be by herself, and she was depressed. So obviously something happened here. Whitebeard became later known as the strongest man in the world. So like, did he just lose here? Kaido, the Beast, did he just lose here? Big Mom, did they all just lose here? Or did Whitebeard, you know what I'm saying, decide, I'm gonna throw my punches. I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pull my punches. Sorry. I'm gonna pull my punches. I'm gonna take it easy. You know? I don't know. So I'm just trying to think now. I think if you Blackbeard, you know that these folks, which is Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard, was supposed to be fellows of your father, and we know as well that potentially, right? If we're aware that there are three personalities in Blackbeard, we know that for a fact. And if one of them is Rocks, and let's say one of them is Davy Jones, and the other one is, Take himself, um, teach. I'm gonna say teach, right? If we want to say those are the three personalities, then Rocks would know what happened in God Valley and would have every reason to get rid of Whitebeard, right? But remember, he also had to live under the tutelage of Whitebeard for most of his life, and I think Whitebeard, maybe the guilt he felt at God Valley is why he accepted him as his subordinate, but he never liked them for real. You know what I'm saying? But he kept him around, and I feel like he kept him around out of guilt. Because remember, at Marineford, he basically tell him like he never really accepted Blackbeard as his son, the way he accepted all these other folks as his kids, right? Why is that? Maybe because he thought, man, Zebek, your father was a whatever. But we now know that Zebek, he wasn't a whatever. He pulled out there to save his town, to save his wife, to save his kid, to save his familia. You know what I'm saying? And if we're going to call that a villain, and Garp and Son Goku and them not villains, then I don't know. I don't know how y'all reading One Piece. But for me, I gotta say, man, I don't think Blackbeard is a villain anymore. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I've been talking about Blackbeard a lot in this channel, and I just don't see anything that he actually did right now. If we go through exactly what he's done, right, and I'm giving him the excuse here, right? So he chased after Ace. Ace is the son of Roger, yeah, Goldie Roger. He's the son of Roger, right? Roger is the one that helped the death of his father, helped the death of his whole hometown, helped with the death of his wife. That's Rocks, right? And we're saying that potentially Rocks is inside Teach or Blackbeard, right? And for Blackbeard, that's the son of the guy that helped kill my dad, kill my hometown, and kill my mom, and was let countless people go into slavery. You know what I'm saying? Countless people go into slavery over those rabbit games. You know what I'm saying? And so if that's the case, then why in the world would obviously it's not the right decision to make, but I wouldn't call it necessarily villainous, right? Luffy's out for revenge when he sees Akainu. You know what I'm saying? He's out for revenge, and Luffy gonna kill Akainu when he sees him. So I think by that same logic, I think Blackbeard is allowed revenge, and he wasn't even the one to kill Ace. Akainu was. You know what I'm saying? He just handed him to the government, got himself a seat as a warlord, and did his thing, exploited that, and then dipped when he benefited him. Because his plan, I think, is, man, shit. His plan to do what he's doing, I think, isn't so shabby, bro. I think I'm Team Blackbeard, man. Zoro's my favorite character though, so you know what I'm saying. I'm Team Straw Hat, of course, but in terms of everybody else, man, I'm Team Blackbeard, and I think Blackbeard gets a bad name. So, I think Blackbeard ain't do nothing wrong, because so far I ain't see Rocks do nothing wrong. I ain't see Rocks do nothing wrong. I see Rocks trying to save his hometown, and a bunch of no good, dudes pretending to be heroes are the ones that stop them. Why did they stop him? Why in the world would they do that? Right? If you can find me a logical and good reason why Roger, yeah, I can see why Roger did it, because that's his opponent, right? That's an opportunity for him. He's thinking, yo, that's the ops. If I get rid of him, I can find the One Piece. You know what I'm saying? First, right? And maybe this is where to discover more details about the One Piece, right here at God Valley. Because it's not until Roger dies that the One Piece becomes like a real big deal and the era of piracy really begins. So we got to consider all of these things when we're discussing Blackbeard and his role in the story. He wants the death of Emu probably more than anybody else, because Emu and them are the reason why his dad's dead. Emu and them are the reason why his mom's dead. And if Rox is inside or part of Blackbeard, then he knows every detail. This is why he bided his time. He waited for the right opportunity. He waited for Whitebeard to get weak. He waited for all of these things. And then, boom, shut up his plan. It's also probably the reason why people are willing to follow him, because Zebek had that aura where the strongest are willing to follow him. And maybe that's why Kuzan is also following him. Maybe Kuzan feels something there. You know what I'm saying? And somehow Zoro and Luffy were both completely aware that there was more than one person in him. So we have to assume that Whitebeard and goddamn Shanks and all of these guys should have also been able to feel it, right? Because if Luffy and Zoro at that time, who were nowhere near that powerful, could feel it and figure it out and know it, how come all of these people didn't seem to care? Like, are they just viewing this thing as normal? Like, is it a devil fruit? Did they think he had a devil fruit? What is it? You know, he did kill his best friend. Now, he did do a nefarious thing where he killed his best friend for taking the devil fruit. But maybe what happened was his best friend knew that this is the fruit that Blackbeard wants. Maybe it was Rox or Davy or one of the other personality that took over and did the deed. We have to also understand that Blackbeard himself, as in Teach, he might be a passenger in his own body most of the time. He might be a passenger in his own this is why he didn't sleep, because he had 3 different souls. So if he's a passenger in his own body, then can we really blame him for what's happening? Because it could be Rox, it could be Davy, it could be Teach. But I feel like Teach is a good kid, man. That's what I'm saying. Hey, let me know in the thoughts below about Blackbeard. Do you think he's a villain for real? Or do you think he's just misguided, hurt, traumatized, and seeking revenge from the world government who deserves death? Subscribe. I'm out.